So the story goes on where my Laurel and Hardy managers, with their renting this, buying a suit and returning it the next day, didn't get me a deal either. But funny enough, I got a call. Dennis was still doing some music stuff, and he had this attorney in New York, and I got a call from Barbara Streisand's publishing company. They were interested in one of these tracks for the TV show Fame. And Dennis had an attorney in New York, so a very young, ambitious attorney in New York, and I got in touch with him to look at the contract. And anyway, he wanted to hear my tracks, blah, blah, blah. So he was very interested in shopping me a deal. Well, he went to every record label, okay? And I got turned down by everybody. And then he had gotten the tapes to, at the time there was tapes. He got it to the, this production company, a big shot guy, Jimmy Einer, who had this big production company and did all these film projects and big groups and all this stuff. And he flipped out over it, him and his people and his staff, and they really loved my work, and they got in touch with him and said, this girl's really good. But they didn't sign me right away, and I went to New York for a visit and to see my friends, and I met with him, and we had, he was very interested in me, and he asked me to do some reworking of the songs. I did the reworking, and I rewrote some of the stuff, and he went nuts and signed me to his production company, and boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3, very fast. Every record company wanted to sign me because he was a very big, powerful guy. And that's the way it works, just like the government. Anyway, so he decided, because his brother was the head of promotion at Arista Records, we ended up signing with Arista Records. And Clive was the head of Arista Records, so we signed with Clive, and it was great. And they really, really thought that I was going to be like the next Bruce Springsteen. I did the record in New York. It came out great, and I actually got on the charts with my first single, and then the second single I got all the way on the AC charts, and I was in the top 10, like number 5 in the country of video of, it was called Under the Clock. Isn't that funny? I wrote a chapter about Under the Clock, and the song really just came out of me. This chart single, VH1 hit, Under the Clock just flowed out of me, that song, and it was on the record, and it really had a lot of chart action, and it was great. But very shortly after that, I didn't sell enough records, and so they dropped me. Now, what else is new? So I had to go from everybody being so excited about me and doing this great record and actually, really actually doing pretty well with it, not in sales, but on the charts. They kind of just said, well, goodbye. You're not making us money. That's the way it is. And so it was a big, big, big leap down, and it was very heartbreaking. And I had to just get all readjusted to, okay, now what do I do? And at the time I was getting older. And everybody said that was close to me, hey, you're getting too old for a record deal. Just become a songwriter and, hone your craft and, work on different stuff. So, I did that. And I, at the same time, went back to painting houses. I think I made a little bit of money from my singles and stuff, but I went back to painting houses. In fact, when I had the deal, when I was finished with my record and my video, they said, well, we're not going to give you road support. We did they spent a lot of money on a video. So paint houses until you have a hit. So I was painting houses and hearing myself on the radio. Now, I'm sorry, but that's like a bad acid trip. Try it sometime. It's just a bad acid trip, man. So I'm in this bathroom with this oil-based paint like dripping all over me and like choking, going like this, and my song comes on the radio, and I'm going, what is going on in my life? See, this is a crazy life. So anyway. And then at the end of all of that, going through that, it was funny because they wanted me to go and do this whole, my record was really doing well in Denver. So they wanted me to fly to Denver and do a whole bunch of newspaper interviews and radio interviews. So I got on a plane. I had painted the day before, because I was just trying to pay my bills while my record was, going up the charts and on the radio every 5 minutes and on VH1. And, it was just crazy. It was just crazy. So I went to Denver, stayed in a hotel for 3 days, and did the Denver Times or whatever it was, the big newspaper. And I went to these radio stations. And in those days, I don't know how it is now, but we have to say, "Hey, I'm Janie Street, and you're listening to WWW, whatever," and I'd have to do this. And then he would say, "So, Janie Street, we hear you painted houses before you made your record." And I'm sitting there, man, and I'm going, "Yeah," and I got paint all over my arm. I can't get off. I said, "Yeah, man." It was crazy. And, it was funny because I was on, here I am on VH1, on TV all the time, on all the video, it wasn't just VH1, it was everything. And I'm on the radio, and so there's this guy that I painted with previous to this that I had to go back to painting with. We called him Fat Jim. He was like 400 pounds. Okay, and he had this beat up old station wagon. He would pick me up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And it was like this beat up station wagon where the seats were like really low. And he's 400 pounds. He used to smoke these true cigarettes, and he was like this big guy, and he always picked up like these ex-cons to paint with him. So I go get into his car. He's sitting here with his troupe, and he's like 500 pounds, and I'm sitting there like this, and he's got these guys in the back. One guy is like 60 years old and kind of blind, turned out, because I had to paint with him. I found out he couldn't see. And the other guy was like, just got out of the can. I don't remember his name. And he looks at me, and he goes, "I think I saw you on TV." Really, I was on TV, and now I'm painting with Fat Jim. Okay. And I said, "Yeah, probably." He goes, "Gee, I never knew anybody that painted with Fat Jim could be on TV." And this is what was going on in my life. And it was really, really, really hard. It was just really, really crazy. It was crazy. And there I was, going up the charts, and, just think about it. Try putting yourself in that position. Anyway, there's more about the downfall of the my big $1 million record deal in the next chapter.